This is Matt Barco, and thanks for watching my video on how to use LaTeX in Beamer. So the first thing you're going to need to do this is something called Miktex. So go to your browser. Let's see. That's smaller for you. Okay. And then what I would do is either go to Google and do this, or just use Chrome and type it in. Miktex. Okay, that's what you want. And then go to this web page. Okay, and you can either get a portable version of it, or a version you can download. I'm going to go ahead and get the portable just so you can see how this is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to use the Windows version. Just click that, put it somewhere, and then just run it when it's done. So it's a big thing. It's 146 megabytes, so it's going to take a minute left on this connection. So that's one thing you need. Another thing you're going to need is a compiler. So the one I use is called WinShell. So let's type that in there. And the first one here is winshell.de, so it's some kind of German thing it looks like. I don't know which one we would want. I think I'm more inclined to go to .org than .de. So let's do this. Okay. So we just need to download it, and it would be nice if we could get a portable version of this one. Then you don't have to install anything. It just works. So let's see. Download. Yep, they do have a portable version. Okay, so I'm going to get that. Now that one's not nearly as big. It's just going slow because the other one. Okay, so those are the two things you need. You can get the either installer versions or the portable versions. Doesn't really matter. And then they should just run. They don't need to do any installation. Okay. Now this thing is probably a zipped executable, so you do need to run. Yeah, see, it says 7Z. That's a 7-zip thing, so I'm going to run it. Okay. And where do I want to put it? Let's see, I guess I put it on the desktop and create a new folder called Miktex for now. Okay, so it's going to expand everything in there. Take it a little while. And while it's doing that, we can do this thing. So this is a folder inside of a zip folder right now. I'm going to just copy this and put it similarly on my desktop. Create a new folder called, well, I guess I don't need to. I can just delete that. So we can just copy that thing in here, paste it. Right? So there it is. Okay. It's taking a little while to do. Alright, so now we've got WinShell. Let's minimize that. This thing is still going. But let's take a look at what WinShell is like for while that's doing that. Okay. Now, you should just be able to run the application here. Okay. Yep, it didn't need an installation or anything. Oh. Alright. So we need to basically start a new document here, and it looks just basically like a text file editor. So you can just, type things in, press enter to go to the next line. It's just little lines of code. You can hit backspace to wipe stuff out. Okay. We're not going to be able to compile this until Miktex is done. In extracting, it says it's at 90% right now. But those are the two basic things you need at this point. Let me just check on that other thing. I guess it's done. So let's go to that. Let's say desktop. Miktex should have expanded it, everything now. So all you really need to do is run this thing. Okay, and you can't see the bottom of my screen right now, but all that does is create this little Miktex portable thing down at the bottom. It's one of those little mini icons at the far right next to your time and date. So you need that little thing to be there. Also, you need to tell Windshell where that stuff is. So let's see. I think it's options and then program calls. So each of these things needs to be able to find something in Miktex. So see how it's looking for something right there? I'm going to change it because it's not located there. Let's go to desktop. So this one was for what? LaTeX? Yeah, LaTeX itself. Okay. So the initial part is a little bit tough because there's some setup you need to do. I think you go to Miktex and then Miktex again. Trying to remember. Config, is it? No. Okay. And it should be one of these. These are all executables. We're just looking for LaTeX. Okay. So now that one's set up correctly. BibTeX is something you might need at some point. It's not that important right now. DVI view, if you want to use DVIs. PDF LaTeX is the only other one that's kind of important. So same folder, it's just called PDF LaTeX. Because I like to compile them into PDFs. Okay. So that should be set up for what we need for our purposes. Okay. Now, when you're constructing a text document, there's two parts to it. There's a preamble, and then there's the body of the thing. The preamble, I usually just use the same preamble for everything. And what that does is tell Miktex how to compile it. So let me open up a document so that you can see what a preamble of a text doc looks like. I'm not going to do a Beamer one right now. I'm just going to do a regular LaTeX PDF. So I'm going to open, look for a text doc somewhere. I keep them in Dropbox. So I'll just find a homework I did recently. Documents, CMU stuff. The last semester. Go to combinatorics. Just look up at homework. So these are text. When it says Windshell text file, it might not have a file association in there for you. I'm going to tell it to open with. Oh well, never mind. This will work because I told it to open inside this program. Okay. There we go. So this is all the preamble. Okay. When it says begin document like that, then you're no longer in the preamble. You're in the stuff that you're trying to actually write. And when it says end document, there's usually nothing else after that. Okay. So this first thing is telling you essentially what kind of document you're making. For Beamer it would be different. Let me show you. So Beamer is used to make slides. Let's see, where would I find one of them? Let's go to my 217. Chapter 3. So it still looks like a WinCheck text file, but you'll see that the document class is different. So it says Beamer there, whereas on this other one it says article. So, you know, depending on what you want to do, that needs to be different. Okay, and you can see how other things are different. Some of these packages are going to be the same, like multi-call will be in both, see, because I use that. These are little shortcuts you can make for yourself. So if I hit \Z, it's going to do actually this command. It's basically a shorthand you can make up for yourself. If you look at my, I made these up myself. They're, if you do \PIC and then you have something in brackets and something in parentheses like that, it's going to actually use this import graphics command. Okay, so if I want to start a new document, I'll usually just, like for homework, I'll use this same preamble and just get rid of the stuff in here. Okay, but before you do anything, you're going to want to save as something else, or else you'll overwrite homework 5 forever. So File, Save As, and let's get out of here. Let's go to my desktop. New folder. So we can call it a tech test. And we can call this just test 1. Okay. So now it's a distinct thing from homework 5, right? I can close these by right-clicking. This was the one I created. Now if I go open test 1, it's just got the preamble but nothing in the document itself. But you can see that that one homework thing I used as a template is still intact. That's kind of an important thing, and it's kind of a tragic mistake if you forget to do that. Okay? So let's get to some of the basics of using this. So let's go back to that test. Okay, so our preamble's good. This stuff should be sufficient. It's okay to have too many packages there, but if you don't have enough, then it won't compile correctly. So I'm just going to show you what the process of compiling is going to be like. So this is a test. Here is some math for your enjoyment. Alright, so how about just a simple identity? Now there's two ways to type math in LaTeX. Either in the text itself or sort of set apart and centered and larger. So we'll show you the difference. Here is what a summation would be like in line. So you would use a $sign to enter sort of, I guess what they call as math mode. See how it changes the color? And then let's just do a summation. So the command for a summation is \sum. And let's go from, and then I went underscore and then brace, left brace, start at n equals 0. And then we're gonna, it looks like I'm raising it to a power, but that's going to put it on top of the giant sigma symbol. And we're going to go to, well, let's go from k equals 0 to n. Okay. And what are we taking the sum of? Let's say the sum of the first n integers, right? So we don't really need to start it at 0. Okay, so that's the sum of 1, 2, 3 up to n. And we know that that's equal to n times n plus 1 over 2. Pretty sure. And then you close it off with a $sign. Okay? And then when you're done with a line, just put 2 backslashes. And you can put some space after it by doing this, like 10 point. That'll put 10 points of space. And you just need to play around with that number to get it the way you want. This is an example of where it's not in line. You start it with 2 $signs, and the code would be pretty much the same. So it's kind of nice. You can just copy it all. I'm going to make it a little different this time, because here I used just sort of divided by 2. But what I can do now is make it a fraction. So that is \frac. Your numerator is in the first set of braces. We don't need the division sign anymore. And then the second set of braces is over your denominator. Okay, and then close it off with 2 $signs. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that just ending it like that won't give you much space. So let's add a little vertical space so that it's called v space. Let's just put 10 point there. That effectively does the exact same thing as this thing here. Alright. So look at how much space there is. Okay. Now, we can compile this because whenever you begin an environment, you must end the environment or it won't compile. Okay, it'll just give you an error message down here. But this should just go ahead and compile. Now, there's 2 little buttons up here that say PDF. This is PDF View, and that's if you wanted to compile it as a PDF and then open it right away. But I didn't specify Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Reader for that thing. But this will just make the PDF and not open it. So let's do that. Now, this will usually not happen. Okay, this came up because I'm using like a raw Miktex that has never been used. So it has no packages in it except for the really basic ones. So I made a call up here. See this use package units? It doesn't know what that is, but it found it somewhere and it wants to install it. So I'm going to hit install. Now Miktex is installing that package, but it has to do that before it can compile. So it found another one that it doesn't know what is yet, so just install. Hopefully it knows what all these are. It's possible that it can't figure out what it is and then it gets complicated, but that's sort of beyond the scope of this video. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. It's actually downloading it from the internet right now, the package. And it doesn't tell you how long it's going to take. Don't get worried that it says not responding here. It is responding. So it doesn't take that long. You can tell. It's going to take a few of these in the beginning, but there. It compiled. 0 errors, 0 warnings. That's awesome. Don't worry about under full boxes. I don't even know what that means. I don't even worry about these. You can fix it if it looks weird later. So we go to where that tech file was, and there's going to be more stuff in there now. So desktop. See how there's more things? There's this is the tech file. This is what it just made. There's these other little things here that really aren't important. They just it makes them for some reason. Okay. So you can see what it did. Alright, I don't want to maximize that. Just want you to see everything. Okay? So we don't need this. How do I get this? Tools. There. So you can see what it printed out. This was the inline summation. The sum of from k equals 1 to n is this. And then if you do it sort of with $2 on each side, it makes it much bigger, and you can see that the k equals 1 is under it and the n is over rather than next to them. It just looks better this way. So depending on what you want to do, integrals will do the same thing, but this is basically how it works. It's going to take you longer to do it this way than it would in Word at first, but once you get good at it and remember all of those things, it's so much better to do it this way. I mean, that's my opinion anyway, but